Stories live, stories inspire, stories teach, provoke, and stay forever. And yes, every story matters. Welcome to Storied. Today I bring to you a story of a lawyer, a professional who, through her sheer hard work, intelligence, and tenacity, has redefined the way corporate law is practiced in India. Some say if she's on your side, then you don't have to worry. From starting up a legal practice at a time when it was unheard in India to today becoming a force to reckon with. Let's listen to the story of none other than Zia Mody. Welcome to the show, Zia. Zia, we don't hear much these days about how you started. So there was something called Zia Mody Chambers. From Zia Mody Chambers to becoming the managing partner of AZB. Tell us the journey when you started. How was it?
Okay. So, Chambers of Zia Mody was started after a long journey in and of itself. I went to England, studied my law, went to America, did my master's, went to work with a New York law firm for 5 years in Manhattan, came back home, got married, went to court for about 8 or 9 years every day, and then started Chambers of Zia Mody. So it wasn't just the first startup that I had. It was a journey which ended because when I first came back from India, came back to India, there was really no M&A. India hadn't opened up. Manmohan Singh hadn't given his 1991 policy. So Chambers of Zia Mody was really as a result of India opening up, if you like.
Yeah, and how was it at that time?
Fabulous. We were 12 people. Um, everybody knew everything about each other. We all had cold pizza for dinner together. We learnt everything new that the Reserve Bank was coming out with every day. We had a big fat green plastic book called the Exchange Control Manual, which doesn't exist now. And we learnt. We had great fun.
Everyone knows you're a workaholic. Other than, the hard work, what are the two things you think you did right to be where you are today?
I was lucky enough to have the right young people believe in what I was doing and join us. And tried to train them, retain them, work with them, become my partners. So people, it's all about people, this business of law. And the second was to always set a very, very high quality as the benchmark, which included first and foremost honesty, integrity to the letterhead. Second is deep domain in everything that you talked about. The third was accessibility, responsiveness, and of course hard work.
Yeah. One question which I wanted to ask you is, as a leader today who has built such a force to reckon with enterprise, to rise and to scale up, somewhere you have to be more thick-skinned and less emotional. And I hear two sides of the story about you, that you're very passionate and emotional, and some say you're a tough nut to crack.
I think I'm a bit of both.
Okay.
Fewer things surprise me. I think I'm quite tough and able to say no now, when maybe 10 years ago I would be a little more diffident. So I think that it's easier for me to talk straighter simply because I follow the philosophy that I just don't have time. So there's no point beating around the bush. It's better you come down to brass tacks. But then I think I still remain emotional in the sense that, I think I'm a woman at the end of the day. I believe I have a fairly high sense of EQ. I get upset if my lawyers are upset. If our partners are worried about something, I want to try and resolve it. So it's a very mama kind of EQ that I still retain.
Talking about being thick-skinned, and as a lawyer, lawyers are generally not regarded as emotional people. When you go to work, a client is a client.
I think what lawyers tend to do, and it may not be a bad thing, is you should not take your clients' problems home with you too much. Now, it's easy to say, and it depends. For myself, if I have a negotiation that I'm doing and it carries over the next day, I don't take it home with me. But if I have a litigation where my client is losing and I have to be strategizing and I have to be thinking, I take it home with me. So it depends each one, you know. I live with the litigation. I don't live with the M&A. M&A I can deal with, I can switch off. Litigation consumes me.
Yeah, okay. You know, talking about passion, how have you remained so passionate over the years?
One, I think it's God's blessings. Two, I just love what I do. So I always tease my partners that if I stop liking coming into the office more than 20% of the year, then they won't have to see me again. But I enjoy the infectious energy of the youngsters. I love the debate with our partners. Clients are right now willing to engage in nuanced debates which they never were before. Everyone wants to be de-risked. Nobody wants a problem in life. And so it's constant innovation, thinking that one step ahead, wearing a regulator's hat, how would he think, stuff like that.
So you're saying that you're still challenged? I thought at your stage everything would come very easy.
It's almost never a day when I'm not doing something different.
So you'll say that's also a secret of all the energy and enthusiasm.
It's just everything is never the same. Something new hits you every day.
Yeah.
Now, you may put it in the corner, you may park it, you may write it down on a notepad, but it'll come back again sometime.
Zia, one thing, if you had to say your story, what's your story, Zia Mody's story? What would you say if you had to write your story?
It's a journey of extraordinary bounty from the Almighty. I was the only girl, I was the eldest child, I was given the opportunity to study in the best schools. I experienced the joys of working in Manhattan for 5 years. I have a husband who is so completely supportive and proud. I have 3 daughters who are fantastic. I have 2 parents to die for. So my story is really one of being provided an ecosystem which at every single milestone of my life allowed me to be my professional best.
Do you also think that you have an attitude which sees things in a positive way?
Sometimes, most times, but I can also switch if the mood is wrong. But generally, yeah, I think I'm generally bouncy in terms of my mood.
Yeah. And one thing which people say about firms, like, you know, the top firms in India, that there is a huge weightage given to the personality. Like Zia Mody is like a big personality. And so for a few, you know, 1 or 2 other firms. What do you have to say about it? What's the legacy? What's the plan?
So I think, we are all young firms in the sense that people are surprised to know that we are less than 20 years old.
Yeah.
So we've run very, very hard and we've worked very, very hard. Are there young partners who are now my senior partners who've been with me for 10 years, 15 years, 16 years? Yes, they are. It's just sometimes that my personality overshadows just because I'm so big and talkative and, whatever. But there is definitely a very visible, at least to the others in the firm, rung of senior succession that is definitely taking their place, letting me not do a lot of the things that I shouldn't be doing, stepping in terms of making the cut. So it will happen. I just think that, like me, other firms have dominant personalities, and we've been on the road for 20 years longer than our younger partners.
Yes.
So that's 20 years is 20 years.
What does failure mean to you, Zia?
Not having somebody trust me, having a client feel let down, having a partner feel let down, losing trust. I hope I never have to do that.
Does it affect you?
Yeah, terribly.
Have you failed?
Sometimes.
But you believe only in success?
Well, can't have it all the time.
I think failure would not be coming close to you.
You
right?
learn from failure.
Yeah.
I think, I've had my share of setbacks, which I've gone back and introspected. And of course, everybody does things wrong.
Yeah, yeah,
The challenge is to learn from them.
yeah. What do you do other than work?
I chat with my husband. I see a couple of movies sometimes.
That we'll have to ask him, right?
Yes.
That how much do you chat with him?
That you'll have to ask. Catch up with the girls. Go on holidays. We love going on short holidays. We go to Kenya, we go to Goa, we go to America. Few short holidays during the year I like to grab.
There'll be people watching this and youngsters and entrepreneurs and startups who'd love to hear from you. What should they be thinking and doing as they charter their own journeys?
I think the main thing is, no shortcuts. There just are no shortcuts. And I don't just mean shortcuts in terms of time. I mean shortcuts in terms of thought process. Shortcuts, not to say the wrong thing, to just get things done quickly. Once you start having small lies, they become big lies. And as I always say, you forget what you lied about. You don't forget the truth. But you haven't figured out which story you told in your story, which is the story, right? Yeah. So I think that, being committed to what you're doing, if you don't like what you're doing, change it. Don't stick with it because it will not sustain. Yeah. So find exactly what makes you thrilled every day.
Yeah. First, you're a lawyer, a professional, and a woman. Do you think the surrounding made you at any point realize that you're a woman first and a lawyer second and a professional?
No, I think we grew up pretty equal.
Yeah.
And so, at least at home, I didn't feel unequal. When I came back to the Bombay High Court, I realized I was probably one of the very few women. But not being shy, I persevered and I made
Can
myself
imagine.
felt. Can't imagine.
Can imagine. You would have.
Just hang in there.
Yeah.
Hang in there. You have to just go back and be better and stronger and harder working and get more noticed and be more visible and stick to it.
Are you
Stick
spiritual?
at it. Yes, I'm a Baha'i by religion. Believe in the Baha'i faith. Definitely believe in the God, oneness of mankind. So I hope so.
Wow. Zia, it's an honor. I'm just feeling so motivated talking to you. Thanks so much. Thank you. Founders realize as they grow that it's very lonely. And did you ever experience loneliness? And
Yes.
And how did you deal with it?
I think when you're a founder or you're the chairman or the leader of a company, every tough decision is a lonely decision.
Yeah.
I think brands today are built by karma. If you want, I think we've gone back to, if you do good, you'll do good. Okay, that kind of stuff. Simply because today the information flows far more freely. And a brand which does cool things is talked about that much more.